everybody, welcome to FabFit Friday on this wonderful Memorial Day weekend. We had a whole week of really warm weather here. I had my first dip in the pool and I still have to work on the water a little bit, but it's getting to be summer. So I just want to wish everyone a happy Memorial Day. I want to thank everybody for their service. If you're in the military, and take some time to think about what Memorial Day is all about, because I think sometimes we we get into our holiday mode, and the reason for the season gets a little pushed aside. So that's my little thing about Memorial Day. It's also my sister's birthday, so that's fun. All right, so if you were with me a couple weeks ago, I was working on a welt pocket that I thought would be like super happy, snappy, quick and easy, and it turned out to be a little bit of a disaster. So I did some thinking on it. Oh, excuse me. And I had the chance to look in my Threads magazine summer issue, and as it would have it, Linda Lee did a article on Streamlined Welt Pockets. And if you follow along with me, everything in my world is all about streamlining or efficient workflow or all of these things. So the title caught my eye and I read through it. And so there are some things about this pocket that are very cool. So first thing I want to do is show you. I'm going to switch my view here. I'm going to get my little Threads magazine out. So if anybody, for anyone who maybe doesn't subscribe to Threads, I put a link in the description of this video to where you can subscribe. I feel like it's important to support print media right now because so many things are available, online for free, and print is getting a little bit hard for the people doing them to keep it viable. So I just want to suggest to everybody, if you love to sew, consider subscribing to Threads and support this wonderful magazine to help it grow in popularity. I mean, in my mind, it's one of the best sewing resources we have in print. And I just want to show you quickly here. There's a lot of fun in here. But the thing that caught my eye about my current welt pocket situation is that, she came up with this really cool way to do a welt pocket where you're not sewing both of the pocket bags to the edges of the window. That's the first thing that I really liked about this. Second of all, she folds her welt up to the exact length of the window, and then she top stitches the ends in place after the fact. You can see here the top stitching. Let me just zoom in here so you can see it a little better. I just wanted you to see. Let me make it a little lighter so you can see. So see, there's top stitching on either side of the welt to hold it in place. So that I thought was a very cool idea. So I decided to play with it, and let me show you what I ended up with in terms of the one that I did. Now remember, I was trying to come up with a pocket that I could do on my linen knit shorts, and I have these odd pieces of linen and some other things. So I decided first to try it, I would work with a non-stretch fabric, and then I also thought about this process and I made some changes, and I did it in a French terry. So first, let me just show you this. I combined some of the techniques from Linda Lee's welt with the idea that I could make a very bulk-free trouser style pocket bag. So you can see my pocket bag will attach to center front. Also, it'll attach to the side seam. This is my extra safety seam allowance on here still. I didn't cut it off. And then also it's going to catch into the top of the fold down facing for my pull-on shorts. Hey Mary, welcome. You're late. Fur baby had chipmunk up the house downspout and I didn't want her cutting her mouth. Oh my Lord. My Sophie, the one that had puppies, that we have Dasha, she got spayed on Tuesday, so it's all about keeping her nice and calm until I can take her hiking next Friday. It's a little bit of a challenge because you know I have Vishlas. Hey Victoria, welcome. Oh, Victoria is congratulating Diane, and Diane is saying thank you. That is so nice. Oh, I'm so happy to hear your news, Diane, and I'm happy you're here with us today live. So as you can see, I'm really happy with the inside of this pocket combined with the welt. So it'll look like this on the inside. And see, I've got some stitching here. I'm going to zoom in and show you some of the stitching that shows. Okay, but you'll notice what I'm doing is I'm not attaching the top pocket bag, or the pocket bag you would normally attach to the top of the welt. I'm not attaching it to the top of the welt in a traditional way. Hey Diane Bacon. Ooh, we got 2 Dianes in the house this afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. So this is the first version I did. I'm going to show you how I did that. The one thing I did not like about this version, and I'll show you when we get to it in a minute, but basically this whole welt is just in here and it's pulled through the window, so the folded edges of the welt are right here. Okay, and what you do is you top stitch them down. I didn't love that because I can kind of pull it apart and I can see, you know, in between, even though it's top stitched down. So it's excellent. I'm not poo-pooing it. I just wanted to see if I could do something different on my short ends here. So I decided what I would do is try some of the starting steps of the welt that I saw that Linda Lee did. And I just want to see if it makes this a little bit lighter so you can see. So this welt is inside. Okay, so it's inside. And if I show you here, so this is more of a traditional welt, right? So I sewed down the triangles. There are triangles in here that are sewn down as well. I can't show it to you though because I sewed it all down, but basically I'll get to that in a minute. But so this is more of a traditional welt, but look at how nice and square my ends are. Okay, and then I realized because it's a knit that it would pull away like this. So to help keep it from doing that, I stretched the knit welt up slightly and I just top stitched like a 1/2 inch on either side here to hold it up higher. So I do like this welt pocket, although because it does this when I stretch it, you know, and even this one, if I were to stretch it, see, it does pop. It does pop, even though this one has the underlap right there. That was the other idea I liked in the Threads article. I think for what I'm trying to use this for, I don't know that I will love a welt pocket on a slant in the front corner of my shorts, because if they're tight, it'll pull open. And when I make my knit pair, I'm not 100% sure how snug they're going to be. What I did to try to help hold the top edge of the fabric is I stitched close to the edge, like I edge stitched there, and then like I said, I lifted up the welt so it overlapped onto the fabric, and I just top stitched it. So these are my 2 ideas, and I just want to show you some of the things that I did to make the process a little bit easier for me, and I think it might make it easier for you. And I think that some of these techniques I'm going to show you, or the process I'm going to show you now, you can use with any welt pocket design. So the first thing is, let's bring in the pieces I cut for. These are the pieces I cut for the one that I will have the welt hanging outward. And I cut myself a little shorts. So see, it's like a little shorts. Oops, sorry. It's like a little shorts piece right here. So there's the crotch. Oh, maybe I gotta clean this up a little bit. I feel like we're a little bit messy-bessy. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stabilize where we're going to put the pocket. So if I were working with like a real pair of shorts here, I would use chalk. But since I'm working with a sample, I'm just going to draw the bottom edge of my casing across here with a pen. You see that? Let me get a little bit closer. All right, that's the top edge for my thing. And then I have my 1/2 inch seam allowance right here. I just want to draw that in. Whoops. I just want to know where my seam allowances are going to be, because when I position the pocket, I don't want to get in the seam allowance, you know, and then I can decide how long or how big of a pocket opening I want. So let's go ahead and say we're going to do, let's do 6.5 inches. So this is going to be the top, this is going to be the seam that we're going to catch the pocket bag into from the inside. So I'm going to just make myself a guide right here. That's going to be the top edge of my window. And for this one, I'm going to make the underlap that is in Linda Lee's article. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw myself a 1/4 inch. Oh, I'm not going to draw anything actually on this. I'm just going to draw that line as my guide. And I'm hoping I can see it, which I actually, you know what I'm going to do? I want to be able to see the position of where I'm going to put my interfacing. So I don't want to mark it. Like if I were making my real shorts, I wouldn't want to, you know, mark it with something super heavy. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to press a little crease where my opening is going to go on this line. So see how I've got that crease right there on the line? Now I know that I'm going to put my interfacing along this line like this. And obviously I don't need it to be, you know, it doesn't need to be this long. I don't need it to be in the casing. But basically I'm going to put this on like this. So I'm just going to fuse. This is my cotton fuse that I like, that I have in my online shop. Of course, I didn't put a link to that, but this is a very nice interfacing. It'll give me just a little bit of stability here. It's got very little show through. So once the whole pocket is constructed, it won't really be noticeable. Hey, Crystal, welcome. Okay, so I did that. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this around here. This is where we're going to draw all our lines. So if you remember, this is the side closer to the side seam is going to be the top of the pocket. So if I turn it this way, this is the top of the pocket here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw myself a 6.5 inch line like this. And you can make your welt any length you want, right? And then I'm going to make a 1/4 inch. This 1/4 inch is going to be for the underlap, which I thought this was brilliant, actually. Oops. Okay, and then I'm also going to make the rest of the welt. Let's make the entire welt opening 3/4 of an inch, like this. So I'm going to go ahead and draw myself 3/4 of an inch, like this. And then I'm going to make sure I make really nice, even lines on the short ends, like this. Okay, and then I'm going to put one over here. Hey, Jeanette, welcome. Hey, Diane Zimmerman. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry, you guys can join anytime you want. Don't apologize for coming late. I just love that you come. Like I said, I love sharing stuff with you guys on Fridays. All right, so you can see we have a lovely, nice guideline here. And I think this is going to be my first tip. If you draw very clear, accurate lines to stitch on, that's going to make it easier to get a good result. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the middle of this entire welt, which is, you know, 3/8 of an inch from the bottom, like this. And I'm just gonna, I'll find the middle. I'm gonna find the middle of that bigger section under my underhang, actually, or my thing. This is where I'm gonna slash, right here, along that dashed line. All right, so I've got my 1/4 inch underlap. I've got where I'm gonna slash the window open, and then I've got the complete size of my window. So the first thing I'm gonna do here is, I'm actually going to stay stitch. Hey, Tana. Tana says she loves to learn new things, but she hopes she'll never have to sew a welt pocket. Well, I'm hoping to change her mind on that, Tana, because I really, one of my missions in life is to come up with something that's not fussy, or can change something from fussy to not fussy. So I'm hoping that some of these additional steps will make it less fussy, and then you'll want to try it. So I'm going to start, this is going to be my stay stitching, and the whole goal here is we want to stitch right on the line. Oh, Mary, Mary likes my red. I am beginning to really embrace red, Mary. I just want you to know that I really like this color on me now, so you're going to see more red on me. I have to find, this is embarrassing, the Italian linen dress I made on the bias last summer. I can't find it. It's somewhere in my studio, put away somewhere to finish, and I really want to finish it because I want to wear it. So I definitely am loving the red. All right, let's make this super clear. I'm going to get right in here. I want you to see everything I'm doing, because I think these are going to be some steps to make it a lot easier to do a welt. So I'm going to start on a long end right here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch around my the outside of the window like this, and also the underlap. So I'm just going to stitch very slowly till I get to the corner. Now when I get to the corner, I'm going to turn and I'm going to count my stitches. Because if I count my stitches on this side and then I count them on the other side, then they'll be definitely be the same length. So let's count together. Let me put my machine on slow-mo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now I'm going to swing it around, and I'm going to stitch down the bottom end of my window a little bit faster. All right, and now we're going to count 9 stitches along this end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, interestingly, that gets me off of my stitching line. So I am going to trust that, and I'm just going to slowly ease back to the original line here. Okay, so I finished that. Let's look at what we have. Okay, so I think we've got equal side ends. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stitch along, or stay stitch along this top edge, which it really is the top edge of my window too. All right, so I've stay stitched, and it looks like this. Victoria says, I did a tunic top and the collar I had to do something similar to a welt, actually wasn't too hard. Ooh, that sounds cool, Victoria. All right, so our next step is we're going to cut this open. And here's the thing, this next step, whether you're going to do it like this, where we're going to pull the whole welt to the right side of the garment, or if you're going to do a more traditional welt, I found cutting it first before you sew anything around those edges makes it a lot easier to see that you're actually getting into your corners. And remember, that was the hot mess I had last week. If you remember, let's look at this. I didn't throw it out yet, but basically you can see here that I overshot my snipping there, right? That's not attractive. So my job one was to get rid of that situation. So what I like to do here is I am going to use my seam ripper to slice through the middle just a little bit. Then I can use my actual scissors. And I'm just going to cut through the layers. Now I'm going to stop a 1/2 inch from the end so I can cut right into the corners from a 1/2 inch away. And the thing is, you want to get right there. You want it to be right on that corner. And that's what helps give you a nice crisp corner to your opening. Okay, so there's that. And now I'm going to do it on this side. So again, I'm going to go right into my corner. And right into this corner. Okay, so see how I'm just right there? I'm literally right on the corner. All right, so the next step is we're going to want to press these seam allowances up. So I'm going to get my little pressing pad here. And my wonderful Oliso iron. Oh yes, I can hear. I think there are windows out my window. There are birds out my window. They are quite, you know, exuberant. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to fold back this top one first. And when I press it, I'm going to press it so I see the stay stitching on the inside. That way, there will be no stay stitching visible from the outside. So I'm just going to give that a quick little thing like that. Let's turn it like this so you can see. All right, so see how, I think you can see if I zoom way in here, I think you can see that wow, those birds are really loud. Okay, so you can see the stay stitching right on the corner there. Now I'm going to press this lower one open the same way. And again, if you accurately sew your stay stitching, you can use that as a guide to press your seam allowances open. I'm going to turn it so it's upside down like this so you can see what I'm doing. Oops. I'm just giving that a nice little press. And I'm just rolling it so the stay stitching is on the inside. Give that a nice press. Oops. All right, this part right here is a little bit too rolled, a little bit too much. I'm going to squirt it with water so I can relax that a little bit. I think part of what makes a welt pocket fussy is there's a lot of steps that need to be accurate. So if you're not being accurate every step, the end result is a disaster. So I'm just trying to be really careful. Let's look at it from the right side. So you can see if I press it like this, you can see I have a really nice, accurate, even opening, right? And then of course, we also want to press back our little triangles. So I'm going to go ahead and give those a press back. Oops, let me just make this a little bigger so we can see what I'm doing here. Okay, let's do this one. Like this. Okay. All right, so I've got this nice window now. Okay, and notice I haven't sewn anything to it yet. So the next step is I am going to get my, well, let me just check. I just want to make sure I don't screw anything up. I'm going to look in here, make sure I don't screw anything up. Oh yeah, so I'm doing that. All right. All right. So the next step is I'm going to get my welt, and notice my welt is not, this is not my welt. Hold on. Where's my welt? I thought oh, it is my welt. All right. So this is my welt. I'm going to cut it down to size. But the thing about this is it doesn't need to be exact. And I'm just going to make a mark with my pen. I'm just going to stop it right here. I'm just going to make it a little bit longer. So let's just, I'm going to put this down for a second. And I'm going to just cut my welt to the length I need. Like this. And I'm just going to make sure this is nice and straight. Now I'm not going to interface this linen, but I did interface the knit welt, so no interfacing here. But again, I just want to cut it so everything's straight, because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pin it here. Let's do it from the right side. we want to make sure this welt matches. So I'm going to fold, oh, let's do it on the pressing. I am going to make sure this welt matches by folding in the ends so they're even with my window. So let's just press this edge under. And you can see it really doesn't matter how much longer your welt is. So that's why I wasn't like super concerned. You want to have at least a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch would probably be optimal. But it doesn't need to be cut into any length. You're just going to fold them to match. Like this. Okay, so I've folded my ends. And then I'm going to fold it in half like this. So I'm creating a welt like this. Now notice I haven't worried about the width of my welt yet. I'm just going to go ahead and show you how easy it is to add water to the aliso iron. Here's my little water trough. Oops. All right, so now I have more water in there. Oops. All right, so now I've got my welt is cut to the width that I need. And see the whole idea, let me just look in here. I made my second welt pocket after I made this one, so I just want to make sure I don't screw up my steps. So you fold it and press it, insert it, and you just edge stitch it. Yeah, see the thing about this is there's no fussy steps, because literally, watch what's going to happen now. I can insert my welt in here, in the window, and then all I'm going to do is position it so that it's sticking up and even with and covering my underlap. So let me put it like this so you can see it. So see, the underlap is right there. Oops, sorry. So see, the underlap is right here where I stitch. So I'm going to just pull it up until it's covering that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick some pins to hold it. I'm going to pin it up here because I want to make sure I'm holding the top of the welt to cover that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a couple pins down here as well. And let me just flip it around. This is like, I don't know, this is like welt heaven, because really, have I done anything hard yet? No, I have not. I have to give Linda Lee a couple golden snaps for this idea, for this article, and for Threads Magazine for publishing it, because this really makes it very easy. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to edge stitch this very close to the bottom. I'm using black thread so you can see it. I'd probably, if I was doing a real pocket, I probably would make it match my fabric here. Okay, so see, I've secured the welt with this simple single row of stitching. So that's kind of cool. Now I can unpin this part. So we can see, if I look in here now, see, there's our welt basically. All right, so let's look and see what we have now on the inside. So here is what the inside of the pocket looks like. And there's my welt. See? Oh, Hannah, Victoria is saying, talking about Threads magazine, I saw an older article with 13 tips on fitting. It had some pretty good ones on pants and some good places to measure for pants. That's very cool. That is very cool. If any of you have never subscribed to Threads and you'd like to take advantage of their entire resource, you can also join their Threads Insiders online, and then you can access any article that they've ever published. You know, you can find that there. I'm actually registered for the online version and for the print version. I have both. All right, so see what I have here now? This is very exciting to me because now I've set myself up for super easy finish to this welt pocket. This is longer than I need, but do I care? No, because I'm going to sew my lower pocket bag to that. Let me get my other pocket bags here. So I created a pocket bag that's going to be like this. Okay, so when you come inside, it's going to be there. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it. Now, can you see the mistake that I made? I should have cut this piece out so the right side was on the other side of the fabric. So when I flipped it down, the right side would be showing. So I did screw that up. So I'm sorry that I screwed that up. But basically, you can see that this pocket edge is longer than the welt, and I don't care. This is the beauty of this. So watch, I'm going to take this, I'm going to line it up like this, and I'm going to pin it. Let me just make sure you can see what I'm doing. This is called stress-free welt. All right, so just to quickly wrap this up, I want to show you the other one too. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to sew this to the bottom of my welt. And you can see your welt can really be any width because all the extra just hangs out inside there. Okay, now I'm going to get my pressing thing. And what I'm going to do here is I am going to press this down like this. Oops. Okay, and again, you can see everything is looking nice and flat, right? All right, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to secure some other things here. The first thing I'm going to do is okay, because, all right, let's think about this for a second. Let's look at this really close. I want to show you something here. Now, we've got these triangles right here. So I've got one triangle right here. Instead of sewing it down like this, I'm going to flip it back. Oh, no. No, I guess I need to still... No, I'm going to use Scotch tape. That's what I'm going to do. I love using Scotch tape. Just a little bit of Scotch tape in here. It'll eventually just wash out. You could also use stay, you could also put a piece of stay tape there. I'm just going to put a little dot of tape there and a little dot of tape here just to hold those so they're nice. So if I look from the outside, I have a nice short edge. Okay, so I've got those taped in place. Okay, then here's the most amazing thing to me to finish this pocket. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my other pocket bag, which again, I screwed up and I should have put the pretty side face up. So again, I screwed up. But basically, I'm going to lay this into position and I'm lining up the top of the pocket so it's above my, it'll get caught in the stitching of my casing. So when I fold my casing down, this is going to cover that like that. Okay. And I've got my pocket all in position here. So see how it's just laying flat like that, like you would want a pocket? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel it back. I'm going to take a piece of Wonder Tape. Oh, my treble? Oh. Well, Tana, I don't know about that. Let me move my microphone so it's not pointing to my sewing machine. Sorry about that. I'm going to take a piece of Wonder Tape, which is double-sided sticky tape that actually washes away, and I'm going to stick it to the top seam allowance of my opening here. So I'm literally just sticking this 1/4 inch wash away tape right on that seam allowance I pressed up. Okay. And then I'm going to be really mean to it. I'm going to rub it with my nail. And I'm going to peel off the paper. I really think they changed the formula for this Wonder Tape. It doesn't stick to some things as well as it used to. But if you pick it off with your nail, you can get it to come off. Okay, so I've got it there. Now watch this. This is one of my little magical things here. I am going to fold this back down, make sure it's in a good position, and I'm going to press it on the tape. Does it sound better now that I moved my microphone over? Tiana, let me know, okay? Hold on, let me just get all this other crud out of the way here. Hold on. Oops. Hold on. Just want to make sure. Okay. All right. I moved everything away from my microphone, so hopefully. Okay. All right. So see this right here? Here is the beauty of this. I'm going to lift this back up and see what I can do now. I am just going to sew the pocket bag to that top allowance right like this. So I'm going to start all the way at the very end. And I'm just going to stitch it right on. So all I'm stitching through is that seam allowance that I pressed up on top of the window through the pocket bag. Okay, so now what we can see here is I've actually secured the pocket bag right to that seam allowance right there. See? So that's nice and neat. So you can see now I can't pick this out because it's sewn on right there. So my underlap is secure, right? And then all I have left to do now is I'm going to turn this around. Oops. And I'm just going to sew my pocket bags together, and I'm going to start up here. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Actually, I'm going to take these tape off of these. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the tape off those triangles, and I'm actually going to pull them this way and put tape over here. I'm going to tape them flat down like this instead. Okay, so I push them from being folded in to folding back out. So there's a triangle right there. And then I'm going to untape this one. This is why I love Scotch tape. I can take it off and put it back on, and I'm going to make sure it's laying flat here. That's going to help bridge the gap between the window and the welt. So I'm just going to put that nice and flat. Okay. Then I am going to sew starting right here. Okay. Way up here at the triangle is right there. I'm going to sew right through it. And I'm going to come straight down. And I'm just sewing along the edge of the pocket. So I made my pocket bag, my lower pocket bag, be the shape of the size pocket I wanted. And I offset the edges a little bit so that there's no bulk. Now, if I were doing a real pants here, I would clean finish this edge first. Just gonna come right up here. So I can then also sew this triangle to the pocket bag. Okay, let's take a look at this. All right, so see what I did. Let's look at this really close. So see what I did? I sewed the triangle. Oh, it doesn't help me that it's white on white, but see, it's right here, the triangle right here. I sewed that down, and then I just went right down and I sewed the entire pocket bag. Okay, and everything lays nice and flat. Okay, let's give this a final little press. Now, obviously, when I lined up my big pocket bag, it's a little bit crooked. You can see it's a little bit crooked there. So you want to be careful and make sure you line up the side seam edges, you know, make sure this is all lined up properly. So, but for this sample, it'll be fine. All right, so the last step is I am literally going to come in here. I'm going to pull the welt over, and actually this will give me the opportunity to use one of my sharp tools. I'll use my sharp tool. I'm going to pull this over just a little bit so I can top stitch the end of the welt shut. And you can do, you know, you could do 2 rows. Like if you wanted to do it like Linda did in her article, you can actually, you know, do like a double row of top stitching like this. You know, something like that. Okay, you could do that, or you could do I did a little V kind of thing. What did I do with my pokey thing? Oh, here it is. Like this. So again, I'm going to pull it this way just a little bit to get it onto the edge, and I'm literally going to stitch along my edge here. And then this time I'll make a V. So you can come out a few stitches, and then you can blend back to the corner, to whatever you prefer. Or if you want to just do 1 row, you can just do 1 row of stitching. But basically, you've got the end of the welt is completely sewn. And you can see here, so see how nice that is? So I really like this method to try in conjunction with laying everything flat. Now obviously I would make sure this matched, and I would also clean finish all of these edges of my pocket pieces down here on the bottom just to make sure they you know, they didn't fray. But if you offset them so they don't match up, then you have no bulk. And then from, you know, from the side, you've got the easy welt pocket. So I thought this was a really easy, wonderful welt pocket. So again, thank you to Threads Magazine and Linda Lee for that. So let me just bring in a second one here. I just want to show you quickly some other thoughts that I had. This is going to be the red sample, and basically I wanted to try picking out a fabric that is a knit. So this is a very fine, stable cotton knit. It doesn't have a lot of stretch, but it has some stretch. So if I'm working with a stretchy, you know, shorts fabric, this is going to work better than using a complete non-stretch fabric. So I cut out the same pieces here, and the only difference is for this one, I interfaced my welt, okay, but I didn't use my cotton fuse because that would be too heavy. I used some of this very fine gossamer interfacing, and I know my friend Gail Yellen sells this. She calls it her Denny fuse. It's very sheer. It just gives a little bit of body to fabrics without adding any bulk. So my welt is interfaced, so I can show you that it's interfaced. And the thing I want to show you on this version is, I'm just going to quickly fuse the cotton fuse onto the wrong side here, and literally I'm just gonna use a marker that will bleed through, and let's just make a, you know, I'm gonna make it again, 6.5 inches. We'll just say, well, no, this folds under there. Okay, so let me just mark this. All right, so this is my casing. And then to keep it below that, let me just have it be, let's say it's going to be like right here, 6.5 inches. So I'm just going to make a dot at 6.5 here and here. And the reason why I'm doing that is so I can see it from the inside. This is a yucky marker. It's going in the garbage. So I can see my dots here and here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my interfacing and I'm just going to line it up on those dots like this. And then we're going to fuse it. Now I'm not going to do the underlap on this one. This is going to be more of a traditional welt pocket. Tana, are you still here? Is my audio still yucky or did I scare you away? Or is anybody else hearing yucky audio? I don't know, let me know, because if it is yucky, I'm going to have my husband figure out what's wrong when I get off. Okay, so I'm going to do the same kind of markings, except this time I'm not going to do a underlap. So let's go ahead and draw. Oops, let's use this side of the ruler. I'm going to do a 6.5 inch. Oh, that's not writing. Maybe this one will write better. 6.5. To here. And then I'm going to make this total window. Let's make it a little bit narrower. So let's do, oh, let's try a 5/8 inch opening. Instead, we'll make it a little narrower. Okay, and again, I'm going to make my neat corners, or my neat ends, like this. Okay. Okay, and then the middle will be approximately right there. Okay. So again, the balance is off on the sound. I don't understand how that could be because I don't know, maybe I changed something by accident when I was on Zoom. I will check it. All right, I will check it though, because it could be when I did my Zoom class this past weekend, I fussed around with something and with my audio. I'll check it after. All right, so again, we are going to stitch around this. And when I get to the end, again, I'm going to count my stitches. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Well, that's interesting. I got 9 stitches, and this is a little bit narrower than my other one, I thought. I think every fabric feeds slightly different here. Let's see if I get what happens when I get 9 stitches over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, that's no way that I can have, I'm just going to do 8 on this side because I think I must have had like a smaller stitch because, let's just see. All right, let's look and make sure this looks even. That looks pretty even to me. All right, so now I am going to cut this open again. And I'll start with my seam ripper. Where's my seam ripper? Here it is. And I'm just going to slice down the middle to make a hole. And then I'm going to use my scissors. And again, it's really important to get right in there to that corner. Like right into that corner. And then I'm going to do it over here. See, I think having nothing in the way to see that you're getting right in there is what's going to make it less fussy. All right, so oh, I went a little bit too far. That's all right. Okay, so let's cut this and cut this. So see, I'm right in those corners. All right, so now let's press those. Oh, actually, before we press anything, what I'm going to do now is I've got it cut open. So now you can clearly see the edge I need to sew it to, right? So I'm going to take my welt and I'm just going to line that up. Let me see if that's going to be. All right, so what I want to do is I want to measure my welt first. Let's just measure it first. I think that's going to work out. You need the length of the welt plus the seam allowance. So I think that's going to be okay. I think I'm going to trim just a teeny bit off. So in this one, you need to have the right welt. So the welt width needs to be the width of the opening plus your seam allowance, right? So I'm just going to scoot, I think it's a tad bit. I'm going to make it 1 1/8 inches. Okay. All right, now what we're going to do is I'm going to line up. All right, so this is the bottom side of my pocket right here. So I'm going to take the welt and I'm going to put it there. And notice it's way too long. I don't care. Then I'm going to get my pocket bag. Let's put it here so I can show you. Where's my pocket bag? Here's my pocket bag. So we want to put it on so when we turn it around, it's the right way. And again, I screwed this up. I should have had the print on the other side. But basically, I'm going to center the pocket and pocket bag together like that. And then I'm going to line it up onto my cut edge. And see what this is going to do. This is why I like this better. I've got a nice cut edge. And I'm just going to pin it on like this. All these layers, making sure they're even. Like this. And notice I'm pinning the pins so they're sticking out like this because we're going to stitch where we can see our first stitching line, our stay stitching. And then what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to put this back in. And remember, we don't want to see the stay stitching. So I'm going to stitch just inside the stay stitching. Just inside. I feel like I want to call this a fear-free welt. So I think you can see it. I'm stitching just inside the stay stitching. And I just want you to notice how you can really see what you're doing because it's already cut open. Going all the way to the end. All right, so see what I did? I stitched just inside. Then I'm going to take the whole thing and I'm going to push it through the window and we're going to press it. So I'm going to pull all of this through here. Now I'm trying to be gentle. I don't want to manhandle the opening, you know, as little as I have to because it's knit and I don't want it to stretch. But you can see here, see how I can press this down. So the inside of my welt, there's the pocket bag. Oops. Make it a little bit bigger so you can see. All right, so I'm just going to give that a little press right here. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it to the right side. And I haven't pressed my upper or my, I probably should use a different color, I'm sorry. But basically, I want to press this down here, the bottom of the bottom edge of the welt, like this. So see how that's nice and pressed, and look how nice that looks. Then I'm going to come back to the inside, and this is when I can press my little points out. So I'm going to do both my little points. And I guess I could have done those first. But basically I'm pressing them so I can see the stay stitching on the inside. Okay, and then I'm also going to press my upper allowance, the upper seam allowance, or whatever, I guess it's on the seam allowance, on the top of the window. I'm going to press that back as well. And again, you probably could have pressed the top and the side triangles first. Let's look at it from the right side. So you can see here I've got this really nice looking welt, right? And that was really no fuss or muss. So the next step is the traditional step of sewing down those triangles. I'm going to do that next. So let's sneak in here. And I've got my long extra welt here. I'm just going to pull this, and I want to stitch this just through those two layers. See, and what that does is it really just holds the end of the welt. I really like how that looks. And then let's sew the opposite side. Oops, let's do it this way. Sorry. So again, we're just sewing Oops. All right, let's see how that looks. All right, so see how nice that is? I really like that nice crisp shape there. So my welt is really good. Now what I noticed about this is very floppy right here. And that's what I was worrying about. So if I look at it flat, you know, I'm working with a knit. Okay, I've got a nice shape to my welt. If I show you. Okay, I got a very nice shape to my welt, but this edge is kind of floppy. So what we're going to do, let's look at my, here's my red sample. I don't know how it's possible that I could lose things. I'm wearing little shorts today, if anybody saw that. Oh, here it is. Let's look at this. Let me show you how I dealt with this floppiness. Oops. So let's look at it from the back side. I sewed it to the other pocket bag when I top stitched it. So see how it's less floppy now that I sewed it? So we're going to take care of that floppiness, but that's one thing I was worrying about, was this floppy edge. So let's look at it this way again. Okay, so here is the inside of the pocket bag. Let's look at it all the way. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my Wonder Tape. And I'm going to put a piece of Wonder Tape right on my little seam allowance right here. Just like I did for the other one. And putting this Wonder Tape is good because what it does is it lets you position the pocket bag on top and stick it to it, so then you know where you're going to sew. So that's why I like using this Wonder Tape for this. Now hopefully I can easily get it to come off. Here, let's see. Trying to decide if my YouTube nails are a plus or a minus for when I'm dealing with pesky stuff like Wonder Tape. One would think having these nails would be helpful, but I don't know. So I'm just being real mean to it. I'm trying to separate the adhesive from the backing on the end. Then once you get that started, then the rest just peels off pretty nicely. See? Okay. Okay, so Polly is asking, I've got 2 projects I could try this on. I can't wait to test it myself. Question is, larger pocket pieces from the pattern, or did you create those yourself to match the pants front? I'm going to show you that in 1 second. I'll go back to my pattern in 1 second. All right, so let me just show you this quick. I'm not going to finish this. I just want to show you how this is going to work here. So see, I've got this all nice and neat, laying flat, right? And I'm not going to worry about it gapping. I'm not going to worry about this whole gapping here. I'm not going to worry about that yet. What I want to do is I want to lay my pocket bag. Let's see if I can line it up properly so it's not crooked this time. So see, you want to lay it so it matches. Now I'm guessing where where this goes down like this. I'm just guessing. Okay, so I'm just laying that flat and then I'm sticking that on. And I just think using the knit for the pocket bag will be nice on a knit, on a knit garment. So now I can reach in here. And again, we're going to sew this to that. So let's zoom back in. So this is where we're going to sew again. So instead of having your traditional seam allowance that gets turned under, I'm basically just top stitching it on, which I think makes it a little bit of a lower profile. So I want to get all the way to the very end. I'm going to do with my pointy thing, but I want to really get in there. I want to get to all the way to there. And this time we're sewing on the inside of the line here. Or no, actually I could sew right close to it here. We'll sew right on top of it. Now because this is knit and I feel like it needs extra stability, I sewed really close. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to sew it a little bit closer to the end over here. So I have 2 rows of stitching. Okay. Now this stitching never shows what I just stitched, so you can see I wasn't super careful to get that exactly straight. Oh, and thank you, Diane. All right, so look at what we have now. I'm just gonna lay that, and then what I'm gonna do, and this was the issue that I was having with the knit pocket. It wants to separate away because it stretches. So see how it pulls away? So to finish this up, what I did was I started over here like this, and I'm just going to stitch the very corner of the welt to the top of the pocket bag opening, or the welt opening here. So I'm literally going to just stitch it like this, just a 1/4 inch or so. Oh, and also the other thing I forgot, I'm all excited, I'm almost finished here, so let me press it, hold on. I forgot one step that I can show you. All right, so what I'm going to do is after I've got it all on there like that, I'm going to give it a nice press so everything is laying nice and even. Like this. Okay, and then I'm just going to put some pins. Let me just lower this a little bit. There we go. I'm just going to pin this where it is in the position, the pressed position, really close like this. I'm going to pin it here just to that. I'm just pinning it to the pocket bag under here. All right, and then I am just going to top stitch this close to the edge like this. So this is only my second try at this pocket, kind of trying to feel along as I go. So I feel like I could maybe even fine-tune this a little bit more, but I don't think you would need to top stitch along the top of the pocket if you made the pocket, this style pocket, out of a woven. I'm just trying to control the knit. Okay, so now that I've got that like that, then I can come over here, pull it up so it's overlapping slightly, and then I would just stitch along there, and then just stitch literally just like a 1/4 inch like that, just to help hold it in position. I already did this side, I think. Well, let me just do it again here. See, what I'm trying to do is keep the welt from separating off the top of the opening of the pocket here just a little bit. All right. Now, of course, another option is if you made a top section out of this same fabric, then that wouldn't show. But I think, you know, this could be, you know, a really easy pocket. And again, it's laying flat over here, right? So all I would do again is just sew these together. Sew the pocket bags together. And then this would be finished as well. And once I've got it all sewn together, I can also trim my extra length of welt off if I wanted to, so I don't have it extra bulk there. So I can trim this one. But see, then we don't have to worry about how we're sewing the pocket bags together. We're just going to top stitch them on like I did. So I would finish this pocket the exact same way on the inside. Now, another thing I'm considering is, what if I could do one button there, you know, put the button right there and have a button to hold it. But also, honestly, I'm thinking that because of the way this angle is, I don't know if I love it for knit. I do think I like it for woven. So if we look at the woven sample again, you can see the woven sample just stays nice and it's fine. Or if you wanted to do the method with the underlap here as well, I think that works out well. So basically, those are my two things I'm going to play with. I think if I made it a horizontal pocket, that could be kind of cute. But of course, I do think I want to find something that matches better. So if it peeks out a little bit, it's, you know, not going to be an issue. But those are my two ways to do pockets. And I have to say, I think I'm much more pleased with myself than I was 2 weeks ago when I decided to just get on camera and try it for the first time with you guys. I totally messed it up. But anyway, so if you have any questions or comments about how to sew these welt pockets, you know, please let me know and I will help you. Mary says cute matching fabric for the pocket bags would be fine to show. Yeah, I agree with you, Mary. I was just trying to use sample fabrics in my stash that I had to try these things, but I'm very pleased with this pocket. I feel like I can now make welt pockets without being afraid. And you will be seeing them on my linen knit shorts, although maybe instead of doing front pockets, I'll do those welts in the back. Oh, Lorna says, good morning, Jennifer. Yes, Threads is a good sewing resource magazine. It really is. So I just want to encourage everyone to subscribe to Threads magazine and support, you know, support Carol Fraser, the editor, and all the and Janine Clegg and all the people working on this magazine. They work so hard, and I have to tell you, I love having a paper copy because I can, you know, I can leaf through it, I can look at it, I can read it, I can enjoy it, versus everything being digital. So, oh. Shy Maid says, personally, I kind of like the pocket in a contrasting color that pops if the welt separates a bit. Oh, Mary said she just got her threads today. And Tana says, thanks, you changed my mind. I'm going to try it. I think you should try it, Tana, because, and I think the biggest tip that I shared with you today is stay stitching around the outside edge of the opening, cutting it, and then having those allowances to sew the pocket bags too if you want to do a traditional welt pocket because it gives you something concrete to stitch it to, and you've already clipped into those corners and they're ready to go. My issue was I was sewing the pocket bag and welt onto the bottom, sewing the bag onto the top, and then trying to clip through all those layers and making sure I got it into those corners. And I think, clipping first really made it much easier because then you have an actual edge to line up the pieces, the welt and the other thing. Or if you're making the one in Threads Magazine, you've got a clean, nice window ready to go and you just insert the welt inside. That was brilliant. So, yeah. Oh, Diane says, I like my paper copies. I know. It's fun. I also subscribe to Vogue magazine, and a lot of times they come on the same day. So sometimes I have to set aside an hour just to look at both of those magazines and get inspired and, check out the sewing techniques and threads and then go check out the fashion in Vogue. Yay, Diane's resubscribing. I haven't sewn for myself much, but I plan on doing it more for myself. Yay! Yay, Diane, thank you. All right, so that's my Memorial Weekend edition of FabFit Friday. I will have a cool tool on Monday, even though it's Memorial Day. I'm going to try to save you money with those rotary cutter blades, and I'll tell you, it's the perfect time because my rotary blade needs to be changed desperately. I have to cut 3 times to get it to cut through. So in my cool tools for this week coming up, you're going to see what I did or what I got to make it more economical, the blades more economical, I'm hoping. So join me for cool tools on Monday, and I hope you guys have a wonderful wonderful Memorial Day. Oh, Sylvia, I was just about to sign off. I showed how to do welt pockets, but if you watched me during my first attempt, you might be happy to know that I did come up with a much better way to do it. I did it 2 ways, so it's definitely a nice thing to repeat if you want to see all the different welt pocket ideas we did today. This, by the way, is an old sheet that I'm using for practicing. But anyway, so thank you for coming. You have a blessed weekend too, and thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And, oh, Shy Maid says, thank you for the tips, new subscriber, but I will watch quite a few of your videos by now. They've been very handy. Thank you so much for joining me, Shy Maid. And Diane says, have a blessed weekend. And Sylvia says, nice. All right, so on that nice note, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go try to vacuum my pool because I need to get all the stuff off the bottom. So that's what I'm going to be working on this weekend is my pool. But anyway, thank you so much, you guys. Have a nice weekend, and I'll see you again next week for another FabFit Friday.